Hey, what's up everyone? This is the watch list video for Monday, February 14th. The SPY kind of rolling over here again. I don't have the 200-day on this chart, but it did break down below and close below the 200-day on Friday. Intraday here, just kind of a slow bleed with a little bit of acceleration there in the middle of the day. A couple highlights, HTCR, a couple people in the chat room. What an ugly close, by the way. But at the time, Thursday's high was 550, and at the time this had put in an early high of 550. So the idea was just a 2-day high break. I'll show you the intraday. A few different people. Wayne had this on his gap playlist that put it on radar, and then a couple other people in chat put out the idea or kind of pointed it out. Hey, this looks good over 550. I saw what they were pointing out, and I put it out to the room. I liked it too. So the break was basically a break of 550. Probably worst case stop, maybe 15 cents risk. And so it breaks 550 and pretty quickly to 619. And as we teach as day traders, if you catch the entry, we scale out into strength, and whatever shares we have left, we go to a break even stop. So I actually made a good little chunk of money on that pop, but as you can see, it rolled over with everything else. But that was kind of a neat trade. And I'll tell you what, early in the day, let me try to remember. I think it was DDOG, which again, kind of an ugly daily candle. But I'll scroll over and zoom in. I also called this long. I can't remember. I thought it was an inside fives. I thought it was back over 179, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, people in chat. Yeah, the early high was 179.32. I think back through 179 was enough to put you through the high, and then you had a big day on Thursday, so the theory is it might get going again, right? Especially because it took out the early lows here. Shorts maybe pile in saying this is overdone to the upside, and so you get a quick burst of short covering, which wasn't huge, but if you took the 79 break, I'm showing you 5-minute candles here, so within 10 minutes, I said 179 is what I meant to say. It's up maybe a couple bucks, 250, something like that, before rolling over. Again, money to be made there, but it definitely rolled over after that. So anyway, there's a couple highlights from calls and chat. And then when we started bleeding lower, there was just nothing setting up. So anyway, what are we watching? I actually kind of have a big list for Monday, but whoops, we'll see what happens with the overall market. There may be a big gap up or a big gap down, depending on any further macro news, right? So anyway, Zillow, the letter Z, had a nice gap up and sold off, and then kind of started grinding higher all day, and I would say rolled over with the market, right? So I definitely want a big volume, closing slightly below the open, but still relative strength to the market. So I do want to keep an eye on that for a potential long setup. IONQ, I don't love this because it's been grinding higher like a few days in a row, and really you could argue it's been running for a few weeks almost. But it did have good volume on Friday and really strong relative to the market. It had a small gap up. It was on the gap playlist, and I missed the red to green. I missed the high of day break, and it had a huge move. So unfortunately, I don't know what I was looking at, but I missed this one. But it did have such a strong close that I'm going to watch it on Monday, all right? Remember, I make my money between the bells, so I'm in cash every night. So these are things that might give me an A+ setup on an intraday basis on Monday. So MITQ, nothing more than just relative strength, really strong compared to the market. BTU, very strong on Friday. We'll see if we get any kind of continuation setup. INCR, it's a low volume stock. This big volume spike, still only 1.4 million, but definitely worth watching for a follow-through setup. It's extended, but you never know, right? BRCC had the gap up on Friday, but sold off, but still well off, way above where it was just a couple days ago. So I do want to keep my eyes on that one for a potential. I'll call it a bounce play because of the red day on Friday. ENPH had what looked like blowout earnings. This would have been, what, Wednesday? And it's been bleeding lower ever since. Really kind of have a gap fill now, back down to the 20-day. I want to keep that one on watch for a potential bounce back up. AMD, this isn't really, I don't know. I just want to watch every chip stock and again, I don't have the 200-day on this chart, but it came pretty close, maybe even hit the 200-day. I don't think it did. 200-day is probably right about here. And it's pretty beaten up in a very short period of time. So if the chips get you bounce, you can watch this one, maybe NVIDIA. I feel like if the market's going to continue being weak, I would love to see AMD get back down and test that 100. So maybe, I guess on the chip stocks, I'd like to see another red day, but I'm going to keep my eyes on it. GT is Goodyear, Goodyear Tire, and that is one ugly day. So the thesis here is that, a lot of times when something starts selling intraday, shorts catch, they just stay in charge, right? And there's just no bounce whatsoever. You can see that. Look at that. That's 5-minute candles on Friday and just never really caught a bounce. Sometimes the shorts just take over and there's no bounce available, and the very next day you can get a decent bounce. So I am putting this on possibly, how do you like this statement? Possibly overdone bounce watch. All right. And this is, let's see, this is the low here, 1432. I mean, maybe it's going to come down and test that low. If it sells off initially and gets down in the mid 14s, I'll be looking for an intraday bounce too. So anyway, there's a couple things to look at from GT. This is DCFC. Again, a lot of bag holders now, but it had this crazy 2-day move, and now it hasn't round tripped, so I am going to keep it on bounce watch. You could argue, hey, it's just back down to the 8-day, right? Much lower volume on the sell-off or the pullback, whatever you want to call it. So I am going to keep this on bounce watch. AFRM. Whew, nasty 2 days. This thing topped out on Thursday at 83.57 and straight down to 46 in 2 sessions. 46.55 is where it closed. All-time lows, 46.50. So this one this thing went all the way down to 45.50. So let me double check that. Yeah, so it hit all-time lows on Friday, but it was basically cut in half in 2 sessions. So you could get a snapback bounce there. I'm not exactly bullish on the chart, but I also will play overdone stocks one way or another, right? So I want to put that one on the chart. INDO is an oil play, a low float oil play. So if oil catches a bid on the macro news stuff, this one is kind of building and could be an interesting squeeze. We'll see. So I want to have that on a chart. AGFY, big volume for that stock. Still not even 2 million shares, but it went from a low of 697 to 863 in 1 session. I want to look for some kind of follow-through setup. That's actually a big move. And YMAB, big volume, and went from 659 to 874. So another big move, could have a follow-through day. We'll also look at gappers in the pre-market. Should be plenty to trade, all right? I'll see everybody in the chat room Monday morning.